Hello, everyone, and welcome to Purpose Driven Marriage Podcast. This is the podcast where we help you model kingdom marriage and help you align with the purpose of God for your life. In case you're just joining us for the first time, my name is Dr. Samuel Ekundayo, and this is my beautiful wife.
Blessing Ekundayo is my name.
Awesome. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking about parenting, and we'll sort of like to cap it up today, as we talk about balancing career and parenting. 5 tips for parents. We believe very strongly that one of the things that can make parenting very tough and challenging is oftentimes based on how we manage our careers. Somebody said that our careers often takes a minimum of about 8 hours a day of our lives. That's about 1/3 of our lives. And of course, parenting is a complete full-time job. So when you choose your career and then you also choose parenting, you realize that if you're not intentional, your career could impact your parenting. Today, I want to share with you some tips that would help you to be able to balance your career with parenting.
Yes, and like we've always said, we are not perfect parents. We are not
Yes.
parenting experts, but we always love to share what we are learning.
Yeah.
And if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, like, share. We've got wonderful, wonderful resources here on our YouTube channel. Lots of videos to help you, whether you're single, you're married, you're divorced, whichever stage you are in your relationship. You've got lots of tons of videos here on this channel to help you.
And we appreciate you for always joining us. For those who are watching live right now, thank you very much for joining us. And those who will be watching later, thank you for joining us. We're going to jump straight into this 5 tips that we believe would help you balance your career with your parenting. Number one, we believe very strongly that it's important not to take jobs or positions that will take you away from your family, like literally into a separate location. We are in demanding times and we are in a borderless world. There are so many times that opportunities would call for you and would arise outside of another country. And oftentimes, such situations would demand that you leave your family behind so that you can pursue your career. And whereas that may seem very attractive, what we have found is that this doesn't help parenting at all. If you listen to our last episode, you would have noticed where we talked about uninvolved parents. Parents who are never present will most likely be uninvolved. And when you take a job or a position that takes you completely to a different location where your children are not, you may struggle with being a present parent.
Yes, it's important that we are there to nurture these children. And life happens. We are also have had experiences in
Yeah.
our marriage where one of us had to go out to another city. It was tough. And life will test life
Yeah.
will
Life
test
will test
you.
your resolve. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But if you do not have a choice, make sure that that time is not like an unending time where daddy is living in one country, mom is
Mm.
living in another country.
And it's forever and ever.
Yes,
And you only come and
yes,
visit once in a while.
yes, yes.
Mm-mm.
No. So it shouldn't be something that is definite. It should be
Indefinite.
sorry, indefinite. It should
Yeah.
be something that has a very short
Time
time.
frame.
Yes, yes. You go, maybe you travel for a contract or whatever, quick one, and then you are
Yeah.
back. It's not that is now your own lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to be staying, and the children and the mother or the father and the mother. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. You
Yeah.
want to be present for them. So be careful about the kind of jobs that you take. Jobs
That will
that
take you away from the
yes,
family.
that will take you from family. Yeah.
Yeah. And even, I mean, while you are doing the job, while you are there, you want to make sure that there are opportunities for you to come back, once in a while and spend some quality time with your children. Acknowledge the fact that you're away because you really needed to. Maybe you've been looking for a job for a long time, or that opportunity is the once in a lifetime opportunity, or whatever it is. But acknowledge it and make sure that when you have the opportunity to come, to be present, you're actually truly present. Not that you now come to again and you are still walking and they don't see your face on the on the ground. No, you have to be very intentional about making sure you make time. I mean, especially the fact that you're not present in the same location. That's very important, to be able to do.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, we'll go to number 2 then.
yeah. Number two, I will say don't abandon your children to grandparents, mates, or neighbors.
Mm.
It's very, very important. Sometimes we get very overwhelmed with work. the career, you want to progress, you want to do things, I mean, it's great that we want to advance in our careers
Yeah.
and things like that. We are career people also. I'm a doctor by grace of God. My
Yeah.
husband is a lecturer, so we are career minded also, but that's not our priority. If you have watched our video how we balance work, career, ministry, and parenting, you would have known our order by now. But it's important that while you are trying to juggle your career and get to the top of the peak of your career,
Yeah.
you do not abandon your children to be looked after by maids or house helps or aunties or uncles or grandparents, because they are not the parents of those children. They're
Yeah.
not the ones that brought those children to life. It is your own responsibility to be present for those parents. So do your best to ensure that your career does not get into the way,
Yeah.
or your business, or whatever it is that you are involved with, your ministry. Some
Yeah.
people, it is ministry that's
Yeah.
their career. It doesn't get in the way of you being present for your children.
The truth is, nobody can parent your children the way you will parent your children. That's the truth. Nobody can parent your children the way. If you don't parent properly, you will leave a hole, you will leave a gap in the lives of your children. Even if it is one of you that is, not present, that is not doing the right, the way they're supposed to be doing, it would always leave a hole, it would always leave a gap. And this is very intentional. This is very important, that you don't go and abandon. You'd be like, they're still looked after anyway, and I'm sending money to my parents to look after my children for me. I'm sending them money. I'm supporting them. I even go to look at them once in a while. Or some people literally just get a maid that just look after the child 24/7. In fact, the maid knows the nanny. Sorry, the maid or the nanny knows the children knows the nanny or the maid more than you, the parent. It's like the child listens and respects the nanny more than they listen to you, because you've abandoned them to the nanny. That's a very dangerous kind of parenting.
The nanny now looks like the parents, while you
Yeah.
are like the nanny.
I have witnessed that before in Singapore, where both parents are just so busy demanding jobs, and they've abandoned their parenting to the maid. So in fact, when they wake up in the morning, the children don't see them. By the time they come back home at night, the children are already asleep. So maybe it's only the weekend that they get to see the parents. So the child is more accustomed to the maid or the nanny looking after them, and that's a very dangerous way, because you are leaving a hole, you are leaving a gap in the parenting of those children. When such children grow up, I promise you, they will not value their relationship with you that much, because you have not actually been there. So it's extremely important that, even though we have demanding and tough jobs, we are intentional about the kind of jobs we take that does not take us away, from our parents, or relegate or abandon them as second-class citizens to maybe our parents, to our friends, to maids. Some people also do this kind of thing where they go and put the child in a boarding school, and never really, it's like I don't even want to be involved in the child's life, kind of a thing. No, I don't mean boarding schools are bad. No, boarding schools are great. But if it's done out of the notion that I don't have the time to look after the child and all of that, and you just leave them there, and nobody even goes to check them, nobody checks on them, no calls, nothing, until next holiday or something like that, and it's even like the child is a burden. That is dangerous. That's dangerous. True parenting requires, or genuine parenting, like we said in our last episode, requires that you are there. There is an emotional connection. You are present. You are available to listen to them, to allow them express themselves, to nurture them, to grow them in the way of the Lord. And if you abandon them to someone else, you would never be able to inculcate those values into them. And that takes us to number 3, right? Schedule time alone with them to share heart to heart. I've come to realize that we are all very busy, right? Life is demanding. Careers are getting busier and busier, especially with the internet, and all of that. There's people take work home, bring home to work, or whatever it is. Bring work home, bring home to work, and so on and so forth. So there's a fine line, a very fine line between home and work. But it is extremely important that if we want to raise good children, godly children, loving children with the right attachment styles, we've got to make time for them. And I'm not talking about making time to maybe just take them out for sports or anything like that, but being intentional about connecting with them, heart to heart. So if you notice you're a very busy person, whenever you are around, make time for heart to heart connection. Like we would sometimes we take our children out for lunch, for breakfast, for dinner, where we just sit and talk around the table, hear their heart, ask them questions, and we just connect with them. We feel like this is very, very important in our
Yeah,
parenting.
it helps us to understand what is going on in the lives of the children.
Yeah.
So no matter how busy you get, because life can be very busy, be intentional about creating time just for your kids, one-on-one, one-on-one time with your kids. Usually have like heart to heart where we call each kid. We just have it's a no judgment zone. It's
Yeah.
a time where they freely share, and sometimes I also share my own stories. My
Yeah.
growing up, and they
Yeah, and they
enjoy
enjoy
that
it. Yeah,
experience.
they
They are
enjoy it.
memories that they will forever remember.
Yeah.
So it's important that you have time to connect with them, so they know that okay, daddy and mommy are busy, but whenever they do have time, they spend
connect.
that time to connect and have make it look like you've got once a week or once in 2 weeks or once a month. There is that time that you
And they know.
Yeah, that you connect with them. It's not just about buying gifts or buying toys.
No.
It's about you connecting them emotionally. What's happening in school, how is school, how are your friends, what's happening, what's your greatest fear, what's your pain, what are what are your plans. You want to know all of those things.
You'll be shocked. You can do this from any age. It doesn't have to be, when they are teenagers and all. No, from the age of like 3, 4, 5, when they're able to talk. My wife started it in our family and started doing it with the boys. Where I think maybe from like 5, 6, thereabout. Heart to heart, and I've joined in as well too, and it's just amazing. When we have those chats can be very revelational.
Yeah, revelational. Yeah, and they look forward to it.
They look forward to
It's a
it.
bonding time with daddy and mommy.
Yeah, it's a really good bonding time. And then guess what? You can ask them questions. Ask them questions. What's going on in school? Is anybody bullying you? Because most times we parents, we just we don't try to find out from our children, and they may not tell you these things if you don't actually make time for one-on-one with them. It may not show up on the dining table. It may not feature. It's usually maybe one-on-one. Maybe they don't even want to share those things in front of their siblings. Maybe they just don't want to share those things like just in the public space out there. They want a time when you're alone. And I've come to realize those heart-to-heart time alone is as if everybody is conditioned to share.
Yeah, it's a time where the children are vulnerable.
Yeah.
They feel like they have that connection. They feel like they're safe.
Yeah.
They feel like, whatever it is that you're going to say. Again, it depends on the kind of parents you are.
Yeah, you need to have created that kind of environment.
If I thought I did, I'm dead.
If you're an authoritarian parent, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
If you've got that bond with them and you build it, you don't start. You can start little by little and you can begin to build it through the heart to heart. That connection. Yeah. And it's time where if you have guys, boys, as your sons, you're surprised they have crushes.
Yeah.
They have people they are thinking about.
Our children have been telling us about their crushes. And the only time you get to find out that
it's through those times. It's not a conversation that they just have anyhow.
No.
Or sometimes they tease each other.
Yeah.
Again, because we've created that environment for them. Home, so it's just a way of connecting despite your busy schedule time out of your no time. Spend with them.
And at such times, apart from the normal gisting and opening up and being vulnerable, you can pray together. You can pray together. You can share some deep revelational stuff with them. Share some core things that would help you to be able to connect with them. And find out about their future, what they are thinking. Whether they're even okay. Whether they're even okay, whether they're emotionally okay, whether they're struggling with anything. We're in this age what mental health, of people is a very sensitive thing, and that's how you actually connect with your children and get to find out what's going on with their mental health, their emotions, and so on and so forth. And that makes a massive difference in parenting.
Absolutely. You think that your child is not doing well, not listening, not doing that. But if you have not connected, you will not realize why is this child behaving the way they are behaving. Because you have that bond, you can begin to probe and find out why, what, and continue to ask questions until you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's massive.
Yeah.
Takes us to number 4.
Yeah. Create memories together that they will remember for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, out of your busy schedule, create memories together. You could have times at home where both of you and your children, you play together. You play together, you have fun together,
Yeah.
you play games together, you tell stories together. Those things linger. The
They
children
do.
look forward to
They do.
your stories, your sharing,
Yeah.
your playing,
Yeah.
your laughter. They laugh
Yeah.
also.
Share about your childhood with them and all of those. They love to. I don't know. Our kids love to hear about that. Yeah.
And if you have the means, financially, take them on trips, even if it's just once a year,
Yeah.
or once in 2 years. Depending on what your budget is like, you can plan towards it. Don't say I don't have money, don't have money, because if you don't plan towards it, the money will never show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
There will be other things that will take up the money. So if it's in your heart to do, I want to take our children on a trip, it could be within the same country, just in a different state.
Yeah.
That's what you can afford. It could be a road trip. It doesn't have to be like outside of the country that you're in.
Yeah.
Unless you can afford it, of course. But don't let money be the barrier. We don't have money.
Yeah, do what you can afford. Yeah.
Create memories with them, because they will remember for a very long time.
I remember asking our kids recently, and I was asking them, I said, boys, what do you love about our family? And I was just threw that question out generally. And both of them were there. It's amazing. These are 10-year-old and 9-year-old boys. It's amazing that what they responded with, of course, they said a few other things, but the part that I found very interesting was then, they started to mention about all the holidays that we've been on. All the holidays we've been on, they talked about, and they mentioned all of them to the point that even since they were like, I think maybe it's 5 or 6, they remembered those things. They remembered what we did what we did at those places, the kind of things we did, the fun things. They were even, jokingly arguing amongst themselves. No, we did that one there. We didn't do that one there. We did that one in Sydney, Australia. We didn't do that one there. And it was just amazing. What really was, amazing for me was how they remember those things. Like they still remember years later. And that's the memories we're talking about together. Yes, if you have a demanding job and all of that, you want to create memories with them, memories that will linger, because those are the things they will remember for a long time. They may not necessarily maybe remember gifts and all of that, but they will remember the times you spent together. Yes. And if a job is already taking you away, then you want to be intentional about creating that time, to go to.
So when you're on the trip, don't carry work with you, please.
Yeah. Don't bring.
I still have to meet the deadline.
Go on leave to do that. Yeah.
Have time. When you spend time with them, be present in that time with them. It's not that okay, you guys go with your mom, and that will be in the hotel room
working.
Be actually present with them. The beauty about having that schedule, those scheduled holidays is, for us, for example, because this
Christmas,
we already scheduled it, and the boys are already looking forward to it. They're already excited. They can't wait for the memories that we're going to create together. It's beautiful. Are we busy? Yes. We are very, very, very busy. Yeah. But we are intentional about making time. That time to spend with the children and with each other also.
Yeah. And this brings us to the last topic, the last one, which is very similar to one of the ones we've talked about earlier on. Don't accept roles and don't take jobs that you would not have any time for your family. You may be in the same location with them, but there are some jobs that even you know. And some people, it's just the lure of career progression / career development, financial, pressures, where you go and take this job where there's no limits to work. I've seen people like that. There's no limits to their work. They are always working. Even in their sleep, they are always working, continuously working. And they have young kids, like kids who are less than 5, less than 10. If this kind of kids, love is spelled as attention and as time. If you don't have time, if you don't give them attention, you just realize that you're losing them. And there are so many parents whose yardstick for measuring that they are doing well is that their child is doing well academically. That's a very wrong mindset. As my children are doing well. In fact, they're doing well because they're getting A's. Yeah, but hello, the child can be getting A and be emotionally damaged. and be emotionally traumatized, and somebody's bullying them in school, and they're mental, and you don't know. So it's important that you, especially when they are still young. I mean, maybe when they get to teenagers and they move to university, they are probably even out of the house already. Maybe they move to a particular university that is completely outside of town and all of that. You can choose, if you like, take any job at that time.
You are free to choose whatever career you want.
Yeah.
Because you finished, or to a good extent, you have already played your part in building a solid foundation for those children.
Yeah, the rest of it at that time would then be phone calls and one occasional occasional visit to their stuff, to their schools and all of that. But what you see, when they are still in those formative years, from that 0 to about 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, is extremely important that we are present. We are intentional about the roles that we take. Both of you cannot go and go and take roles that both of you are never available. For instance, maybe like we normally do in the developed world, somebody can have a demanding job, the other person will have a flexible job, where it just allows presence. It allows you to be both present, to be emotionally connected to the child, and regularly you take leaves to allow you to be able to do this. But when you go and take a job where it's just so demanding, there's no start time, there's no end time, you're setting up, you're going to leave a big hole in the life of those children.
And they continue to grow without you.
Leading
us to the parental styles that we talked about last week. So it's important that we are intentional. Some of us, like what works for us, I'm a doctor, so my job is extremely demanding. But again, because I've been intentional, I've had to look for something that is more flexible for me, that brings sort of like work-life balance, for me and for my home. He has a flexible job, and we try to make it work, somehow. So if you're a single parent, it's going to be very challenging for you. If you have to be by yourself, to try to make it work. So you have to figure out what sort of styles, what sort of things, what sort of additional support
can you put in place.
Journey. That's something for you to think about. So that at the end of the day, because when you try to balance career, with parenting, you also need to balance your own mental health also. Because it's only when you are well that you can balance.
That's very true. That's
very
true.
Feeling very, very stressed, and burnt out, it will be hard to balance them.
Yeah.
So while you are trying to balance, take time out for yourself also.
Self-care.
Yourself. Work might be causing burnout. And you may need to apply for leave, take a break. Look for something that's maybe more flexible, like work from home, or part-time, or do a shift job, whatever it is. That will provide you time for your children. That would go a really long way.
And like you said earlier on, it's not forever, so to speak. It's in those formative years, so it's a sacrifice that is worth making. We normally say in my language, in Yoruba in Nigeria, that it is the child that is untaught, unguided, that will go and sell a house that you built. It is extremely important that we make time within the time frame that we have to lay the foundation that God has called us to lay as parents for these children. We lay that foundation properly, and then they can build on it. And like I said earlier on, when they leave home, both of you can decide that you want to go to the full course on your career, as long as it doesn't impact your marriage, and still be able to get to the summit of your career. But
yes. If you're a child of God, want to encourage you, you can pray about it. If your career is taking your time, causing you stress, you really want to balance things, but you cannot balance it because this job is extremely demanding. Talk to God about it. God, I want you to give me a job. Provide me time to be there for my children,
for my spouse.
Yes, and that job, so you can be specific. I want it to pay.
I prayed that prayer before, babe. Yes. Remember when I was working at that other place where the job was so demanding? Sundays I'm on shift, Saturdays I'm on shift. Everything was just, and it's such a stressful environment. And I remember I saying to God one time, I don't like this. I don't like this job. I don't like that I don't have time for you. I don't like that I don't have time, for myself, for my pet, for my spouse, for my children. I don't like it. I don't want this. Lord, give me a better job. Give me a job that will allow me time to serve you, that will allow me time. Do God answered that prayer? By the time I got that job, remember, He paid times 2 Yeah, almost times
And
two.
you didn't have to
Of
work on
and I didn't have to work on
Sundays.
that. I didn't want to work on Saturdays. It was so. Guess what? God sees your heart. If God can give you a job that will still pay you even more than you're earning now, that this one that is almost killing you, if you're about your heart, it starts with your heart. It starts with your heart.
And learn to say no. Some of us just say yes, yes,
To
yes
every
at
job
work.
and to everything.
No,
No.
they give you this. Your plate's filling up, and
Yeah.
it's putting that stress on your parent, on your
On your own.
children, on your
Yeah.
family,
And even on your mental
yes,
health.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So we
yes.
can't stress this enough. What we believe, like we said earlier on, we spend a lot of time at work.
Mm.
Parenting is a full-time job. And of course, there's marriage that we've not even talked about in this episode as well. Your spouse is a human being that needs your connection and emotion and support as well. But we just thought to share with you these tips to help you balance that demanding career as well as your parenting, which is equally very, very important. The Bible says children are the heritage of God. We cannot just leave them abandoned to life and to grandparents and to nannies and maids and so on. No, we've got to be present. We've got to be active. We've got to do what God wants us to do in their lives while we are dead. With that, we have come to the end of this episode. It's a very short episode than our usual, but we believe this has really, really, really helped you. We'd like to thank all those who are watching us live right now. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a joy to have you. And if you are watching this video for the first time,
you're welcome to our channel. It's Purpose-Driven Marriage. We model kingdom
marriage and help you align with the purpose of God
for your marriage.
Yes.
So feel free to hit that subscribe button, like this video, share this video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell.
Yeah, like this video if you like it. We'll see you again next week. God bless you. Bye now.